Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram.
I must consider this as an honor and blessing to be here and be able to talk to you right after Shivratri in front of such a gorgeous Adiyogi.
Look at him.
Magnificent. I want to read a poem of yours to begin with. You said, of Shiva and me have built an immense fire together. We keep each other happy and warm. A million more could enjoy this warmth. Shall we build a sacred space so all shall know this warmth? What is the connection between Shiva and Sadhguru? Because most of your talks, I've seen you talk about him fondly, and it's almost like there's a partnership between you and him.
More than that. I am not a devotee of Shiva. I did not choose to worship any god. I still don't do any worship or puja in my life. I've never prayed in my life, I have to say this.
It's almost like you're friends with Shiva or something.
Never in my life have I prayed for anything, ever. But somehow he invaded the very fundamental life process within me, and he became a part of my breath. I don't even know when it happened, how it happened, but after some time it was just there with me. Right from my childhood, I've been a skeptic, I've been an atheist, I've been a very staunch communist person, but one day I found my breath and my being are him. So, I don't know, I claim he's my partner, but essentially I'm his slave, I have to admit. But don't tell anybody.
Okay.
I tell everybody he's my partner.
The word consecration, I mean, I can't deny it when I go to Devi's temple, but I don't understand it no matter how you put it in words. But one cannot deny the energy you feel. And you've done Dhyanalanga consecration, Bhairavi, then Suryakund, Chandrakund, now Yogeshwaralinga, Adiyogi. How many more are you planning to do? And what is the purpose of creating such spaces, Sadhguru?
See, when we say consecration, we must understand everywhere in the universe, but at least if you look at it from your experience of life here, what is soil today, what is mud, becomes food.
Right.
That's called agriculture. What is food becomes flesh and bone, this is called digestion. The day this flesh and bone becomes mud again, we call this cremation. Or in other words, the same things, the same material is becoming so many things. Can you compare the soil that you walk upon and yourself? Or can you treat the soil that you walk upon and the nice food that you eat as one? But actually they're one.
Yeah, not really, yeah. But
This and the soil are one, isn't it?
Correct.
How different it looks, how different it feels, how different is our experience of it, but still it's the same thing. So, if this flesh and bone or a rock or a space, if we make the energy in such a way that it becomes so subtle and functions at a much higher level.
Okay.
See, what soil means, it's functioning at one level. A plant means at another level. An animal means at another level. A human being means at a completely another level.
Okay.
So what you call as divinity is another level of function.
Okay.
So if you switch this same energy into a completely different dimension of function, then we say this is a divine entity. So consecration is that science through which you make the gross into subtle. So you can do this with a rock, you can do it with a metal, you can do with anything, but the best material to consecrate is always a human being. Because on this planet, the subtlest manifestation of creation is human being. Human beings are the best material to consecrate. That is what we're doing most of the time, consecration of human beings, so that they become like living temples. But this is a generation of people, I call them U-turn generation.
U-turn.
Yeah. You set them on the path, 3 days later they're going back this way. Again you set them on the path, 3 days later again they're going back this way. You have to catch them and put them on the line again.
Okay.
So because they're a U-turn generation, rocks are little more reliable. They can't make a U-turn. But we use solidified mercury, which is the densest material you can find on the planet.
Okay.
The idea is, once we consecrate this, such a dense material, it will stay for an extraordinary length of time. You can almost say eternal. When human beings say eternal, we are not truly talking about eternity. If something lasts, if the clothes that you're wearing last for 10,000 years, you will say these clothes are eternal, isn't it?
Correct.
It's like that. It will last for an extraordinary length of time, which is beyond our calculations.
So how are people around it get benefited, or what is that which is available to them being around these spaces?
See, you must understand this, the temples in India, they never were places of prayer. That is, there is no one person leading the prayer or something. There may be a pujari who conducts a few rituals or processes, but he never leads a prayer. So they were never a places of prayer, they were places of energy. If you go to the temple, the fundamental instruction that was given to you is, you must sit there for some time. Whether nobody told you must give a petition to God, you must sit there for some time,
Right.
because the idea is to soak it in. There is a certain energy created with a certain deity, because each one is created with different purposes, and you go there and soak in this energy. And you soak it in best when your body is reasonably wet. At least your head region is somewhat wet. This is why in every temple, ancient temple at least, there was a kund.
Correct.
Always you take a dip and then you go. People think this is just for cleanliness, it's not just for cleanliness. Cleanliness you could do at home.
Right.
You come here because you want your clothes or your head or your hair to be wet, because in that state, your ability to grasp this energy or to be influenced by this is much higher. That's why you see the Surya Kund, and the Chandra Kund for ladies and gents separately, so that they become more receptive to that energy.
I wanted to know, did this figure come into your mind? I mean, he's so gorgeous. How long did it take to give him such a beautiful face? And did you envision it in your mind, like how you had Dhyanalinga's envision?
See, the thing is, since 2008 I've been thinking we need to present this as a science for which we need an iconic figure. So, I think I took about 2.5 years to design the face, because it was clear in my face what should come out of the face. What should come out of the face is this. Tell me if it is coming out of this face according to your perception. What I wanted was, I wanted the face to represent a certain sense of equanimity. That's one thing, stability and equanimity. At the same time, it should represent a certain sense of exuberance.
That I totally feel it.
At the same time, it must also show that it's a focused, aware kind of face. At the same time, there is an inebriation. What do you think? Does he exude all those things or no? You can tell me honestly, no problem.
Very, very well said.
So, there is exuberance, there is equanimity, there is a certain drunkenness, there is a certain meditativeness. So, this is what I wanted in the face. So in my mind, because I had no brains, I had just lot of space.
Why would you say that?
No, because that's why I can create things. I don't have memories. Memories are there, but they don't come up on my mind. My mind is an empty screen most of the time.
Okay.
So, when I kind of visualize something, initially we thought we will create a full image. We created full images in models, in computer models, and also real-life models like in cement and other things we tried to do. None of them look like the way I wanted them. Because this is what Adiyogi is, that he is absolute exuberance, at the same time equanimity. He is a householder, he is an ascetic. He is a dancer and he is still. So these qualities kind of crystallized in my mind in a certain way, and it took about 2.5 years for me to get it down into a computer screen or on a paper. But our boys, hats off to them, they delivered him in 8 months.
Wow.
You have
Such a
children,
huge
right?
structure, yes.
How many months did you take? Nine and a half. 8 months.
Wow.
Such a big guy.
They say where science stops, spirituality starts.
No. Where science starts, there itself spirituality also starts. Or where science starts, well before that spirituality starts. Because the question about how an atom is functioning may come to you much later. The question of suppose You are only 7, 8 years of age. You saw in your home a new baby came. The question of how did the baby come, even a child will ask,
Correct.
isn't it?
Yes.
People are trying to explain, oh, because they're shy of explaining of sexuality and this and that, they'll try to say all kinds of things. But fundamentally, what the child is asking is not how you made the baby. They are asking, how did a new life happen?
Okay.
From where does it happen? So this is a spiritual question. So before science starts, spirituality starts.
It is said that our Shastras and Puranas are read by Westerners or researched upon, and they are patenting them as theirs. Is that okay? Should that be okay with us? If the purpose of all this is only human well-being, if they propagate it as theirs for human well-being, is that okay with us? Should that be okay with us?
How can that be, yeah? They are patenting it not to propagate it, patenting it for commercial reasons.
Okay.
They want to make money out of it. Why can't the country make money out of it? If
Correct.
that's our heritage. That's why I said you store Kohinoor diamond, if you do, they'll give you an award.
Yeah.
If it belongs to a certain people, right now the IP or the intellectual properties, everybody is trying to preserve their intellectual property. We as a nation, where 50% of the people are still so poor, if we can get some revenue for this country to improve the lives of these people, why should we not patent it? Why allow somebody else to patent it? We can patent it and then sell it to them so that they can spread it to the world if they want.
They're good at that anyways.
No, we better become good at that.
Sadhguru, Shiva, you said many times, Shiva means that which is not. Then again, there is Adi Guru, Adi Yogi, the Shiva who lived in Kailash, who lived in Kasi. What is that? Like, what is that which is not, and what is this Shiva whom you talk as Adi Yogi?
See, Shiva means that which is not. When we say that which is not, we are talking about a dimension which is not physical in nature. Because our perception, our sense perception is such that we can only perceive that which is physical. See, right now you can see my hand because it's stopping light.
Correct.
You can't see the air because it's not stopping light. Though the air that you breathe right now is more vital to your life than my hand, isn't it? But you can see this, you can't see that. So in other words, our senses are geared to see only what is required for our survival process. Anything more than that, if you want to see, you need a certain enhancement of perception. So entire yogic system is enhancement of this perception. Yoga is not a philosophy, it is not an ideology, it's not something that you believe in or disbelieve in. It is something that you use to enhance your perception, to sharpen your perception in such a way you can see things that you're not seeing right now. You can hear things that you're not hearing right now. So in this entire process, what is visible and what is not visible? What has a physical structure and what does not have a physical structure? We started exploring all these things. But the fundamental of our science or the pursuit of our science is called as physics. Physics is the only real science, rest is all offshoots of that. So when you say physics, you have clearly stated you only want to study that which is physical. This is a folly, this is the biggest mistake we've made. Now we are saying, only if it's physical, it can be studied and it exists. Anything that is not physical does not exist. Is it a fact that your physical body is an accumulation? Over a period of time you accumulate it. So, if only this is real, you as a person, you as a life is not real. This is what we are stating. I'm saying this is where the fundamental flaw is. So, Shiva means that which is not. So, we are talking about in some way accessing that which is not physical or which is not in the purview of so-called physics or the modern science as we're talking about it. Today modern science knows that there seems to be something beyond, so now they're saying your logic won't get you there, so they're inventing something called as fuzzy logic. But still it's not enough because still you're trapped in your own setups because it's physics. You are only willing to accept the physical as reality. That means your very life is not a reality. The life that you are is not a reality, only your body is reality. Now, a yogi came, he never bothered to introduce himself. So we call him the first yogi. Adi Yogi means the first yogi. Right now, in the popular culture, he is Shiva, but in the spiritual culture, he is Adi Yogi. Because for us, he is a yogi, that's why we're interested in him. Because he experienced that which is not, we also call him Shiva. Now, if you look here, the male members of the people who are sitting here, more than 70% of them, their names are some expression of Shiva. Have they realized something? Have they seen that which is not? No. But they are capable. Someday, if they come under my influence, they will see something
Okay.
which is beyond physical. So we know their potential Shiva. So we call them also Shiva. So as far as I am concerned, I can even call a grasshopper Shiva. And I do. If I see a tree, I say Shiva. If I see a rock, I say Shiva. If I just look into the empty sky, I say Shiva. If I see moon, I say Shiva. If I see star, I say Shiva. So, are these rocks going to realize that they're Shiva? No. They may not realize, but I have realized.
So beautifully said. So, I heard a rumor saying that a lot of forest land has been chopped off to make Adi Yogi. What would you say to that?
That's not a rumor, because in this country it's become like this. Anybody can say anything. Now there is social media. 10 people can get together and say, you stole Kohinoor diamond, you. Yeah, Kohinoor diamond you stole. And you broke it into many pieces and 2 of them you're wearing on your ears. Before you realize what's happened, this 10 people has become 10,000
Thousands
people,
of people.
and they're all saying, oh, Shilpa Reddy stole Kohinoor diamond, broke it into pieces, what a crime it is, such a big diamond she broke and did this. You didn't even know.
Okay.
You didn't even know because you don't read the trash. And I can file immediately a case that she stole Kohinoor diamond. They'll admit the case. Nothing will happen to you, but everybody thinks you stole.
That's true.
Half the people will believe you. Right now, you have cameras here, why don't you pan it around? Our neighbors, these Arakanat gardens could not have been put up in 3 days. They have grown in 25 years. Behind is coconut garden, that is 40 years old. That is 40 years old, all right? Where is the forest? This is agricultural land, which we have converted for non-agricultural use properly, with all the necessary permissions. Show me one damn tree that's been knocked down. We planted 30 million trees.
Correct.
We have changed the landscape of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is the only place where the green cover has gone up because of Project Green Hands that we launched.
Correct.
But now they're telling me I'm chopping trees. Where was the tree? This is agricultural land which has been plowed for over 130 years. For 130 years, this has been revenue land. Taxes have been paid for 130 years by the farmers. Since independence, we paid it to Government of India, before that to Her Majesty's service. So please check it out. So, unfortunately, anybody can say anything and file a PIL on you. Okay, this is the country right now. I invite all the media and responsible individuals to come and see if anything like that has been done.
Number of projects you handle, Isha handle, are numerous, and I mean, how do you handle that? I mean, do you have that like a very clear blueprint in your mind? Even if you do, how do you bring the volunteers to exactly execute what's in your mind?
I have the most wonderful people around me. I'm also including you in that. This is the biggest gift. I have most wonderful people around me. Apart from that, this will be very hard for your viewers to digest, but let them have little indigestion. Let them sit up and think about this. As I sit here, I'm talking to you. Am I talking sensibly?
Yes?
Do I look focused?
Very?
Very. Nobody has ever seen me unfocused on anything. But at the same time, I have at least 12 to 14 tracks running in my mind all the time.
I'm sure.
So I may be talking to you, but I'm sorting out many things. That means, in a way, compared to a whole lot of people, if they think one thing, they can't think the other thing. I have 14 people in one. I could increase the range if I want, I'm just little lazy. So, I don't want to spread it. If little more striving, I can spread it much more. But, here and there I enjoy a little bit of laziness. I thought 12, 14 tracks are enough and they're running well. So at the same time, I'll be designing something, I'll be creating something, I'll be preparing something, everything will be happening at the same time. This is what being human means. Unfortunately, most people utter the word human only with reference to the limitations of being human. Very rarely anybody says, "I'm human," referring to the immensity of being human. They're always saying, "Oh, I'm only human."
Yeah, right.
So, this is what I want them to realize. This is what Adiyogi means. 112 different ways through which you can find solutions of transformation, solutions or means for transformation for your immediate needs and for your ultimate needs.
I don't know if this is true, but then they say given the planetary position, the way the sun is positioned, human consciousness is is on a rise naturally. Is that true? If so, how does that…
We will make sure it's on the rise. Next 12 years, watch my words. Next 12 years are going to be a golden period for the spiritual process on the planet. Be a part of it, all of you. Yourself and all your viewers, be a part of it and make it happen. It's not about me, it's not about you. It is the well-being of this generation and the coming generations. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Sadhguru.